This woman was burglarized, raped, and sexually assaulted, all in her own home. But was she really sure who really committed this crime? Now, this is Jennifer. She's sleeping in her bed one night and she looks over and she does see a man kneel down on the side of her bed. He gets up, crawls in the bed with her, rapes her, sexually assaults her. She asks him if she can get up, go get a glass of water because she's thirsty. He tells her yes, and to bring him a glass of water also. So she goes into the kitchen. She realizes her back door is still unlocked or open because that's the door he came in. So she runs out that door. He realizes that she's trying to escape and he follows her. She runs to a neighbor's home and starts banging on the door. The neighbor does eventually open up and let her in. Now, the police are called. They take Jennifer down to the hospital to get swabbed. While she's at the hospital, the police's radio, goes off and they're reporting another burglary and rape not too far from where Jennifer lives. Now, Jennifer does have to describe him to the police. They create a sketch and somehow they come across this man named Ronald. Now, Ronald is known to wear white gloves. I guess he has been seen before with like a blue and white striped shirt, and he works not too far from where this crime was committed. The other employees in there, they see the sketch and they're like, yeah, that does kind of look like him. So the police go over to Ronald's home. They ransack the whole apartment, searching for evidence. They do find some black shoes because at the scene of the crime in Jennifer's home, they did find like a little bit of rubber. So they collected that as evidence. And they eventually bring Jennifer down. They put Ronald in a lineup of 6 other men. So they're asking Jennifer, can you identify him? They have every one of the men come up and say what was said to Jennifer during the rape. So each of them step forward and they say their line, and Jennifer instantly points out Ronald. So next, they bring down the second victim, which we don't know her name, so we're going to call her Anonymous. So Anonymous comes in, they give her the same lineup, and she points someone else out, which is just a stand in. He's not a real criminal. So they're like, okay, she's obviously not too sure of who did this, so we're going to go with Jennifer's story. They go with Jennifer's story. They're like, maybe it's 2 different crimes. Who knows? So they lock Ronald up. 5 months pass. They go to trial. Jennifer's like, she's sticking to her story. Yep, that's him. That's who raped me. So he is sentenced to life plus 50 years. Now he goes back to prison. He's thinking his whole life is over for a crime that he did not commit, allegedly. Now while he's in jail, he notices a man getting escorted down the hallway, and something just clicks in his head like this dude looks familiar. So he goes back to his cell and he's looking at the sketch, and he's looking at him like, hey, that's him. His name is Bobby. So Ronald approaches Bobby and he starts talking to him and he's like, are you the one who committed this crime that I'm being accused of? And he's like, nope, not me. Whatever. Ronald ends up going back to his cell, and one day he does have his sister come and visit him. So while they're visiting, he notices that Bobby is kind of eyeing his sister. So his sister leaves and he approaches Bobby, like, I see you eyeing my sister. You want me to holler at her for you? And he's like, yeah, you know? So Ronald's like, all right, cool. Let's take a picture together and then I'm going to write her a letter and send it to her. He's like, all right, cool. So they take this picture, but Ronald has no intentions on sending this picture or this letter to his sister. Instead, he sends it to the DA. So the DA is looking over everything. They bring it to prosecution and they're not convinced. Prosecution is not at all convinced. They're like, yeah, whatever. We don't care. We already have our suspect. That doesn't work for Ronald. Eventually, they're able to take this case back to court. They have their witnesses. The judge does excuse the jury because he wants to hear the story first. The judge is asking, Bobby, did you commit this crime? He's like, no, I didn't. That's not me. Bam. Okay. But there is another inmate, and his name is Ken. Ken does take the stand, and he's like, Bobby told me that he did it. The judge is still not convinced. They bring Jennifer back to the stand again. Jennifer's still sticking to her story. That's him. Bobby didn't rape me. It was him, Ronald. She's like 1,000,000% positive that Ronald committed this crime. They also bring Anonymous to the stand. So now Anonymous, all of a sudden, she can remember stuff. So she gets on the stand and she says the same thing. Like she's looking at Bobby, like, I don't know who this man is. I never seen him a day in my life. And she points out Ronald after already pointing out the wrong suspect, a stand in previously. She's like, yep, he's the one who did it. And mind you, the evidence they found in Anonymous's home was just like a little bit of blood, like on her door. So now Ronald, he gets 2 life sentences because the Anonymous ended up testifying. So now he's charged with both cases. So he goes back to prison. One day he's just chilling and he's watching like some type of TV show, and they mention DNA. Ronald's like, duh, why don't they just do a DNA test? So he goes back to the DA once again and he suggests a DNA test because he's so confident. He's like, I know I didn't do this. Damn, DA agrees. They do the DNA test and it doesn't match Ronald's DNA at all, and it does match Bobby's DNA. So this is a huge break in the case. Now, they bring the evidence to court, and Ronald is exonerated after 11 long years in prison, and they arrest Bobby. So now they have the right suspect. Now, years pass. Ronald is awarded $10,000 for each year he was locked up. Jennifer's devastated when she hears the news, like, this was the wrong person the whole time. So Jennifer's nervous. She wants to meet Ronald. She wants to apologize to him, but she's afraid that he will not forgive her. They meet up. Ronald forgives her. He's like, I forgave you a long time ago. Would you guys have forgiven her so easily? Do you think the amount of money he received was enough for 11 whole years of his life? What do you guys think?